It is still this morning on ITV, bringing us to a talking point where we'll be looking at the plan by the federal government to sanction airing foreign carrier that refuses to collect our own currency, naira. So, and of course, to look at what it has done on the areas of releasing about $265 million, of course, money actually owned by these foreign airlines. Yes, and have been tracked, and we've seen so many calls by these foreign agencies on the Central Bank of Nigeria not to waste time in releasing the, their money. And we saw how this week at the Minister of Aviation yesterday talking about on these issues. First, this amount of money has been released. Second, any airline that refuse to collect naira, they will be sanctioned. We made it clear that yes, it's a Pareto optimal thing. They benefit, but they benefit more because the market is there. And to do this is a man. You all know him. He's a friend of the media. Has been crisscrossing most of the notable stations, and you've seen his publication in various papers talking about aviation and how Nigeria can get it right. He believes the airplane is a faithful machine, but when you see it fall off the sky, it's as a result of human error. He was an aviation freak until, of course, some experts, aviation experts, came together and said, you can't continue to be a freak. You are now an aviation researcher and publisher. And we also saw him in that very massive ICAO conference in 2017, where he was there live, and recently the aviation conference held, he was also there. So when it comes to the issue of aviation, he has seen it all, and he's just doling out this information free of charge. I'm talking about your very good friend, Godwin Pitu. Very good morning, Godwin.
Hi, good morning, Joe. My dear viewers out there, please welcome to the program.
So let us start by looking at the decision by the federal government to order NACA, I beg your pardon, well, it's agencies to ensure that any airline that refuses to
You're talking about NCAA?
NCAA,
yeah.
It's about
Right, yeah.
Yeah, that NCAA must ensure that any foreign airline that refuses to collect naira as payment for tickets should be sanctioned.
Oh yeah, Joe, that is the sweetest thing I have heard from the mouth of Honorable Minister Hadi Serika this year. But one thing is to say it, another is to follow through and make sure that every letter and every word he pronounced would be adhered to, and if not adhered to, enforced. So that will really make it sweeter. We've been taken for granted for too long by foreign airlines, and to tell you the truth, there's nowhere in the world the foreign airliners that come to Nigeria make the kind of money they make in Nigeria. Joe, quote me anytime, anywhere. It doesn't exist anywhere. Nigeria is an awesome country. Everything is just right here. The reason we are going through the experiences we are going through at the moment is that we have refused as a nation and as a people to kill corruption and redistribute the wealth of this nation for the benefit of citizens. If we were to do that, believe you me, the whole world will be yearning to come here. This is a blessed land. And so, it's my hope that Honorable Hadi Serika and his team we follow through and enforce their threat should any airline misbehave. Joe, these airlines know where they do the kind of things they do, such as they do in Nigeria. Elsewhere, they don't misbehave. And the reason is that we are also not doing as well as we should in the judicial arm of our government. Our judiciary must sit up. Law enforcement and as well as trial of cases take unnecessarily too long a time, so long that it's as good as that justice is not dispensed. And so the foreigners that have gotten used to our system take us for granted. Let me give you an example of an experience. I've shared this before, but for the benefit of those who didn't hear at that time, let them hear this. I paid a visit to Houston, Texas in the United States of America a couple of years back. If you remember that story. And we were to return to Nigeria. I don't want to mention the name of the airline, but it turned out that the oil, annually, oil magnates around the world assemble in Texas, in the United States, for their conference. And so it happened that the flight I was booked in, and a whole lot of other people were booked there, had been taken up by those conferencing men and women who were due to return home on that day. And so, for some strange reasons, the airline gave away our seats to those oil magnates who were traveling all over the world back to their destinations. Joe, as I walked up to the counter and others that were affected, what we had were very civilized, gentle men and women, smiling and saying to us, "Please bear with us. Please bear with us. This plane is full. We're going to get you a voucher. You're going to be in a free hotel. You're going to have your, lunch, dinner, and breakfast. Transportation to the hotel free, and transportation back to the airport tomorrow morning to catch another flight free. And to cap it all up, 900 euros for the inconvenience of preventing you from flying, the previous night. Joe, it was sweet money. I took my voucher, got to the European, destination of the airline. Like I said, I don't want to mention the name of the airline. I'm not here to advertise anyone. And I turned in my voucher. 900 euros were counted and given to me, real life, cash. I didn't ask for, but I was entitled to. Joe, the same airline, if you were to do the same thing here in Nigeria, would not talk to any Nigerian or any passenger for that matter operating here. The idea is the idea is nothing wrong.
For
the law and enforcement. For instance, if anyone were to sit back and say, "No, I'm not going to have this nonsense," and sue the airline, it won't be a question of come today, come tomorrow. Instantly, the court will hear it. Instantly, the court will make a decision, because the law is clear and unambiguous and very clear and straight and clean to everyone. A decision will be made, and guess what? The airline will pay through its nose for daring to do such a thing, and what it will cost them would send them bankrupt, and they know it. For instance, I got 900 euro, for instance, and then if you add all the hotel bills and call it maybe 1,500 in total, or 2,000 euros, just call it that. But Joe, if I were to sue them in Texas, if I were to spend one more week to sue them and get a judgment, I could walk away with anywhere between $5 to $10 million. Because I will tell them the horrendous.
If you are not compensated.
That's correct. If they won't even wait for me to complain. I want you to get the picture I'm painting. They wouldn't wait for me to complain. As soon as I got to the counter to check in, this beautiful smiling lady said, go the Ike. Go, you know, that's how they call my name in the US. Ike is Ike to them. So, go the Ike. I'm so sorry. Yes, you were booked on this flight, but to tell you the truth, this flight is full. And you're not going to travel today, but just be calm. You know, we'll make you comfortable. Everything will go well. If you give me just a few minutes, I'll get you all your vouchers, and that's how I stepped aside in a few minutes. I didn't have to, you know, bang on anybody's table. I didn't have to say, hey, you're wasting my time. Everybody was walking, and I wasn't alone. We were almost 50 of us, or 60 of us.
So in this case,
yeah,
what would you expect the federal government to do? Rather than giving this warning, this sanction, and ordering NCAA, if you see, deal with them, it means that they have heard it over and over again, and nothing happened, nothing was said.
That's why I said, if you remember how I started, excuse me, if you remember how I started, I said that was the sweetest thing I've ever heard in the mouth of Honorable Minister Hadi Sirika this year. Very well. Having said that, and then I added, it is my hope and wish that he will follow you through to ensure that it is enforced, and that if anyone is found culpable in breaching the law of the land, that such an individual should be reined in straight away, or the organization or airline or whoever it is, reined in and properly tried and judgment obtained. You see, Joe, we are taken for granted because we operate a system that is cumbersome and ineffective, especially in the judiciary. Our judicial system is not encouraging people to behave well. The reason an airline will so behave the way that airline in question behaved in that experience that I had in Houston, Texas, if the same thing were to have happened here in Nigeria, Joe, they will watch to see Nigerians make their usual noise and then step back, accept their fate, walk back into their cars and return to their various homes, only to come back the next day to maybe hear another story.
Or even if you choose to go to court.
Or if you choose to go to court, you stay there for the next 5 years, and you won't get judgment. So now put it on the balance and weigh. If I were to have taken out 1 week of my time and maybe pay for my own hotel bills and stay back there and sue the airline if they didn't make the offer that I accepted, for instance. Joe, if I file it today, it will be heard tomorrow. And the next day, the third day, there will be a decision. And the airline will be ordered to do something immediately. And if the airline were to say, oh no, we don't accept this judgment, we want to appeal, I say, okay, put down what we have asked you to pay with the court, and then you can go and appeal. And that,
if you win, you come and pick what you're...
That's right. If you lose, we'll pass it on to... At that point, I don't even need to stay back in the US. I take a copy of my judgment and return back to Nigeria and begin to monitor activities through their embassy here, and be sure if eventually they go through the whole hog of appeal and Supreme Court and they fail, I won't need to remind anyone. instantly, because the court would have known that I am no more in America and that I was only obeying law because I had a time limit to be there, and so I don't want to overstay. You know, they will call their embassy, who will also contact me with my local number and ask me how I want my money paid. That is where judiciary works. As a matter of fact, I have said this times with that number that the reason that we are all misbehaving as a people and as a nation is that the judiciary is not doing what it should do, and it's not revered, it's not feared even by foreigners. The belief is that a whole lot of things can always happen under the table.
So should we have a special court for this purpose? Because, you know, in the time past, I think it's between 2013 and 2014 when we had that passengers bill of rights. You remember?
Yes, of course I do.
So many rights there for the passenger, but enforcement is still a challenge. Yes.
Up until this moment.
Yes, you know. But if we have a special court for this purpose, to what extent do you think it?
Joe, how many special courts can you really establish? There are too many problems.
The problem with judiciary is the fact that the courts are limited. The number of judges are just handful. And that is why you see the dockets are so bulky, and a judge seat, if not for a public interest case or a political case, expedited hearing is not easy.
Joe, we're always making excuses as a nation and as a people, and I will always say this to anyone about isolation. We make too many and too much excuses. Joe, if we really want to straighten things out, if we really want to eschew corruption, and we want to have not just even only the judicial system, the systems of the country work in accordance with, you know, the desires and stipulation of the law. Joe, we can. The biggest problem that I see is that we seem to be so divided, and it doesn't seem that there is good enough belief in one nation that belongs to all of us, and that everyone can afford to be happy. You know, what I see around me, it's heart-rending, and honestly, Joe, we should pray that God gives us the kind of leadership that will bring us all back together to believe in our nation and work towards the development of this nation and ensure that things work well. Joe, you live in a nation where an individual opens up his or her window, sees a crime being committed. Rather than pick up a phone and call the police to say, hey, I am seeing something that is unacceptable going on here. Can you guys come and take charge and deal with it? The individual shuts the window and says, them know that they're concerned. You know, concern me. And then something horrendous happens there. And that same individual who witnessed it, who should be able to help the police or any of the security agencies concerned to get to the root of the matter, will be asked, Oga or Madam, please, can you tell us, or did you get a video clip of what exactly transpired that led to this mess here? And I don't know anything, no. I know Sabi. I don't even see them. Now I just hear them. Blunt lie. You see, it doesn't happen elsewhere. Even in some, African countries, such as the one that thrills me most when you talk about, some African countries that are, are doing well, is Rwanda. You remember the ugly massacre that took place in Rwanda. But go and check out that little country today to see how people are living. and to see how government is operating and to see how the law is there for everyone. Everyone, no matter how rich you are, everyone is beneath the law. But here, a few people are above the law. We can't go on this way, Joe. That is the mess. We can't. And so, let's not derail from what we are discussing. It is my hope that Honorable Minister Hadi Sirika and his team will follow through with this threat and rein in any airline that is misbehaving. The place to make money is here.
No, he made it clear, the minister made it clear that yes, they are offering services, we are benefiting from the services, but they benefit more. The market is clear. But if that is established, rather than ordering the NCAA to ensure this doesn't happen again, why can't we name and shame?
Oh, well.
The minister is supposed to read out the names of the airing foreign airlines and say, for these ones I have listed and others that we don't know, NCAA deal with them.
Good one. I'm really glad and excited. I am very glad and excited that your mind is working this way, Joe. Find time and invite Honorable Minister Hadi Sirika to this studio to talk to you. Find time, or reach out to him to his office with your camera and ask this same question. He alone can answer it. I don't want to speculate. He alone can answer this question.
Your friend. And you know how his mind works.
How do I want to answer this question? Yes, everyone in the aviation sector is supposed to be my friend because I love aviation and I have great passion for aviation, and I have dug so deep into the aviation sector that if this nation doesn't collect what is in this head concerning aviation at the fullness of time, when the Lord, my Creator, calls me back, I go with it. Yeah, do you get the point? Yes. So having said that, I would say yes. Everyone in the aviation sector is supposed to be my friend, but you see, Joe, there is also something else. I tell you the way it is, whether privately or publicly. I try not to insult anyone, even when I am punching the point as hard as I can in order to make it known that I feel strongly about this. But I've noticed that a few people like only praise singers and want to associate with praise singers. Joe, my lifestyle, if I find an individual that's supposed to be my friend praise singing, I write him or her off. Because as an adult that is sane, if I misbehave, I would know that I misbehaved. And if a friend that should tell me, oh Godwin, what was that you did? Come on, that was not right. I mean, please, I don't want to see you behaving this way, or I don't want to hear you talking like this, and all that kind of thing. Admonishment, isn't it? But I will respect and love that friend. That's a good friend. But if, as a sane adult that I am, Joe, if I misbehave at any time, either because of provocation or because of just sheer carelessness or whatever is the reason for that misbehavior, Joe, I would know as an adult and a sane human being that I misbehaved. So don't turn around and praise me. But a few people like to be praised even when they misbehave. And so, if they now make contact with somebody like me who will not shut up, who will say to you, Joe, come on, that was nonsensical. Why would you say a thing like that? Does it stop me from being your friend? But for some people, you're not your friend.